Hey my YouTube friends, Late Boy Scout here, and this is my review of the Kershaw OD-2, a fantastic and fun little knife. I mean, it is so fun to deploy this thing. The way that thing just snaps open with that sweet little launcher on the back that just disappears into the back of the handle. Amazing design, and very cool, no spring in it whatsoever. And you get this for an incredibly affordable price of about 13, 14 bucks if you don't shop around. If you do shop around, maybe 10 or 11. Guys, how do you say no to something so inexpensive and so cool? I did not say no to it, and I don't recommend that you do. If you're a knife guy and you just like cool knives, whether you decide you're going to use this thing or not, I highly recommend that you get one of these. And if you were thinking about the OD-1, which I previously reviewed, I say get this instead. Yeah, I do. I like this one a lot better. You get equal fun factor, equal coolness factor with this one, and for about just a fraction of the price, maybe a third of the price, maybe a fourth of the price. Depends on what you pay for that OD-1 and what you pay for this. But yeah, a fraction of the price, all the fun, and some pretty decent utility as well. Definitely. A nice sharp point there. Look at that. Almost like a spear point. You know, the edge is good. Came out of the box not quite to my liking. I had to touch it up a bit. You can tell kind of by the way that edge looks. It doesn't look like a factory edge anymore. That's because I spent some time working on it. You know, especially that tip as well. However, you know, even so, it's way worth it. Way worth the price. Let's talk about some specifications on this knife. The blade length is about 2 1/4. It's a very small blade. And the closed length is about 3 1/8. Something like that. So it'll just disappear in your pocket. The width is pretty nominal as well. Let's get a ruler out and look at that. In the 3/8 neighborhood. 3/8 of an inch neighborhood. Very, very doable. Very doable. Pocket clip is reversible to this side. I almost don't recommend that you use it though. I mean, I have used it, but I feel better with this thing just sort of dropped in the bottom of my pocket and just sort of left there with some loose change and keys and whatnot. And you know, you fish it out when you need a small utility blade. Take care of a really small task such as, I don't know, trimming a cuticle perhaps. Cutting a little thread off your clothes, it's dangling loose. Little tasks like that. This is an excellent little knife for that. Let's talk about that for a second though. If this is a good knife for that those kind of tasks, guess what else is that you might already have, that I already had? The Leatherman Squirt P4. That's a Leatherman Squirt P4. Has a nice little clip point blade on it. You know, very, very simple, very rudimentary, very basic. It doesn't even lock at all. It's just got a little spring tension there holding it in place. But you can get all of those tasks done with this knife, and this will get razor sharp 420 HC steel. Not a bad steel. And, you know, when you can get all those tasks done with something like this, that's also got all the utility of a small multi-tool, you know, why would you get this as well as this, or instead of this, whatever your choice was. My feeling on that question is basically you would get this because of the fun factor. It's just that fun to play with, that cool, just pretty addictive to snap that thing open and shut. It really is, man. I love it. If I didn't mention, it's 8CR13 MOV steel. Analogous to AUS 8 and very decent in its own right. Holds a great edge, sharpens really easily. It'll rust in moist environments if you don't oil it up or, you know, keep it dry somehow. Otherwise, it's a very, very decent steel. Have no complaints about it. Made in China. Okay, so, you know, if you have a problem with that, don't buy it. But I don't have that big of a problem with it. I just like it. I just do. And Kershaw is a decent brand. So, you know, I trust what they come up with, what they come out with. Let's put it that way. And come up with. They come up with some pretty cool stuff. Lee Williams came up with a very awesome design with this knife. Disassemblable. as it is screw construction if you needed to take this thing apart or just wanted to as a project knife to figure out how this little gear mechanism launcher thing works here. Basically what it does, it moves the blade outward at a different ratio than this moves down. So as I'm pushing this down, you see that kind of moving down and this moving up at a different ratio, okay? Because there's sort of like a little gear mechanism in there. I haven't had to look at it, but that's basically what it's going to take to accomplish that. And because of that, the amount of force you apply here is multiplied and shoots that blade right out. No sort of traction here, some slight traction there in the closing of the knife. That's good. Appreciate that. The handle scales are basically just a fiberglass reinforced nylon, which is not going to give you a ton of traction, but it's better than nothing. And for a really light utility knife like this, you don't need a ton of traction. At least I don't feel like you do. Doing those light, super light utility tasks, I don't see a point in having like some super grippy G10 on there. I don't feel like it's needed. And jimping also not really needed for what you're going to use this for. That about covers it, I think. If I forgot anything, maybe I'll add an annotation or, you know, just look at somebody else's review because this is a very popular knife and everybody's got it now and everybody's made a video on it. Well, there's my review. I'm the Late Boy Scout. Thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you later.